The thumbstick on this GameCube controller has got a big scratch out of it, but I've just received a bag of replacement parts. Hi, welcome back to the shed. Today I'm going to be revisiting this controller from the Spice Orange GameCube that I refurbed recently. Now first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to all those people who've taken the time to watch that video. I think there was a lot of interesting stuff in there to share, so thanks so much for everyone who's already taken the time to watch that. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll try and remember to leave a link. It should be up there somewhere and you can take a look at that and then come back here and see what I'm going on about with this controller. Now, when I was trying to do the refurb, I cleaned up everything as best I could and there was very little damage. However, there was a big scratch across this bit of the thumbstick, so I went online and had a look and found a supplier that sells just the replacement caps for those thumbsticks. I ordered a few because I'm pretty sure I've got some other GameCube controllers here and there that have got damaged thumbsticks as well, so I'll try it out on this one. If it goes well, I'll do it again on some other controllers. So it should be a fairly straightforward mod, so I thought I'd just put together a quick video. I thought it'd be a nice follow-up to the refurb video, and I thought it would be a nice opportunity for me to thank everybody for their feedback on that one as well. So let's see how we go. Hopefully it will be as easy as I expect. Alright, first let's take a look at the controller. It's not that bad, but it does have a bit of a gouge right across the middle, and even though I cleaned it pretty well, it came up nicely and it's still playable, it doesn't look like new. This one is not in bad shape at all really. There's a few white marks all around the side there. I don't know if you can see those, but they are from basically where it's knocked into the plastic around the edge here and it's just worn over time. Everything else is fine, and we'll take a look at these as well. So I've got a couple out and they look pretty good. There's a little bit of kind of where you can see where it's moulded around the side there. I don't think that's going to cause any problem, and if it does, it should be easy enough to clean up. We'll do a side-by-side comparison once I've dismantled the other piece. But you can see straight away it is a lighter colour than the original and a slightly different shape, so whether it's going to be a good idea to keep it or not, I don't know, but I'll do the swap anyway and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so first we're going to take this apart, have a look inside, remove these two, put the new ones on, put it back together while it's apart, and might give it a bit of a clean around these seams as well. So I'll move the cable out of the way. What we've got here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tri-wing screws to get out, so I'll do that first. Okay, so that's done, and we'll take the back off. The back has the trigger assembly inside there, so we'll leave well alone with that. Okay, so this whole section needs removing so we can get to the joysticks. There's no screws or anything visibly holding it down, so we'll just carefully lift those out by pushing from the buttons on the back. Lift that out there, and all the buttons and everything else will stay in place. Now I was going to look into cleaning the little membrane that goes in between, but that actually looks really clean. That's in really good shape. I'll take the one off here, check the back of that too, that's all good. That actually looks pretty good, that won't need anything. Here's what we're like inside. This should hopefully just lift off, and then we can do our little comparison after that. The other one, the C stick, just lifts off there, and if you look close up there's a particular shape to this, so you can't get it the wrong way around. And you look inside there, it follows the profile of that stick, so you've got to get it the right place, the right way up, otherwise it just won't go on. Right, let's look at the main stick first. As I said before, this is the new one, this is the older one. The older one's a slightly darker grey. The shape's slightly different as well, this one's a little bit flatter. The original's got a bit more of a dome to it, so this won't stick out quite as much, but quality wise it looks pretty good. It's just a little different to the original, so I'm going to put it in anyway. While I'm at it, let's take a look at the C stick. Obviously where the wear and tear is on this one, there's none of that on here, so that's going to go in as well. On top, this had a slight textured finish for a bit more grip. This one actually feels quite smooth. There's also a little bit of plastic from where it's been moulded, so I might just clean some of that off with a knife before I go putting the rest of it together. Same goes for around the edges here, just for the sake of keeping it clean. Right, so that's all done. Those are all cleaned up. Looking at this one, it was pretty much perfect all the way around. There are some slight mould lines, but you can hardly see them. On this one here, you can see them a fair bit, so I'm going to have a quick go at those as well. There we go. This is all using a mould line removal tool from Games Workshop. It's meant for modelling miniatures, but for this kind of work it's brilliant. Quick clean up around the edge of the shell. I've got a baby wipe. I'll just make my way around there. And I can actually get into this bit quite easily, which is awkward when the joystick's in place, so it's worth doing now. Dry off with a little bit of kitchen roll. So back to our main controller, we'll put our new stick on here. Just lines up on the inside, and hopefully it's moulded well enough that it'll stick on top easy enough. Yeah, that went in fine. We'll do the same with the new control stick. Yeah, that went on there fine. Just an extra push to click it down in place. They look okay. And because I don't want all of these buttons falling out, I will flip it over to put it back in. As it was before, it was just kind of like a friction fit to hold it in place. There wasn't any screws or anything like that. It's the back half of the shell that holds it all down. The cable, however, needs to be lined up just right around that screw post here, and then that's gripped in place. So that should be ready to go back together. Now that's slipped out slightly. Right, let's try again. So the Z trigger fell out, that needs to sit perfectly in place, so I'll get that lined up. That's better. And then try again, and this time when I go on I'll start with that corner by that button. If that goes in, everything else should line up okay. All alright everywhere else, so I'll just hold that together. Get my screwdriver. In fact, I've just had a thought. Let's pop that to one side a moment. Got a tiny little bit of Scotch-Brite. Just looking at the end of the screws, some of the screws are a little bit blackened and dirty. Put them in the Scotch-Brite and just wiggle them around. If you haven't got this stuff, like a kitchen scourer or something like that, does the job quite well, but it just brightens up the screws a little bit on the ends. If they're really bad, you can use like wet and dry paper or steel wool, but these are just great. You just put it straight on top, round and round, and then that comes up nice and shiny. So I'm going to do that with all the screws just before they go back in. May as well do the job properly. That's swept off. I think it was just the two that were deep inside here and here that were those ones that had gone a little darker, so they will be the ones that will go back in there, but a little cleaner than they were before. As usual with the screws, turn them anti-clockwise first till you feel a little bit of a pop, and then it'll locate in the original thread without trying to cut a new one and ruining your plastic. And there we go. It's not the original pad, but like if you didn't know, you really wouldn't question it, and it actually feels quite nice. The flatness of the thumbstick doesn't feel too bad. So I'm going to go do a little bit of testing and see what it's like. Right, I've had a quick play and it's actually pretty good. If you didn't know they'd been replaced, you'd never think anything of it. They were good, they were cheap, they were comfortable to use, and now the pad looks like brand new. They are slightly different to the original one, but when you're playing with it, it feels great. It feels really comfortable. I think I'll have to put in some long-term play and then maybe report back if there's any issues with that. But really, I think it's a quick, easy, cheap upgrade that makes your pad feel like a brand new one. So if you're thinking about doing it, give it a go. Nice, easy mod. Right, I've done a bit more testing and there's a few issues that I've managed to sort out. First of all, this was rubbing quite a bit. It felt a little bit stiff, and I found what it is, it's because it's a little far down. And over on the side, the rubber of the cap rubs out on here. So all I did with that was pulled it and it popped back up, and then pushed it down a little bit until it moved around more comfortably, and then it was fine. The other thing is the ridges, they're quite pronounced, I suppose because it's brand new, and that was rubbing a little bit on my thumb, so I don't know whether I'm going to end up with blisters or whether that's going to end up a little smoother, but time will tell. It's a brand new pad, it's all good fun. So if you've ever tried replacing these or you're thinking of doing it, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.